It's a pleasure to have you, Colin. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And today we're talking about disruption, and so we're so pleased to have you here to talk about your work. Maybe we can start the conversation with you telling us a little bit more about your role at the FII.
Oh yeah, no worries. Hopefully people picked up on your introduction that I'm an industry associate professor. So that's a little bit different and a little bit of a new name for position within UniSA. The industry bit at the front really does specify that I'm engaging with industry and I'm recognised for my outputs with industry. So a few years ago, the university made 5 industry professors, and a couple of years ago, I was made the first industry associate professor. So it's, I guess, a recognition that UniSA really does engage with industry, and we value that engagement, and we give ourselves names to show that. Yeah, so I'm an industry professor. I work in the Future Industries Institute, another nod to the link with industry. And I've been, like you said, working in industry. I had a previous job in industry. And then about 15 or 16 years ago, I came to the academia to continue that research and development, but just from an academic side. My let's say, area is material science, and then applying that to various industries. I've worked in automotive, mining, mineral processing, a little bit of agriculture, a little bit of medical, a little bit of dental, but it's all about, so let's say, surface engineering to, let's say, develop new products, help industries with, let's see, improving their productivity, things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like such a broad range of areas you've worked in, Colin, prior to, and I suppose also moving into academia. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your where your interest in industry engaged research sort of started from that point?
Yeah, cool. So I think having the 9 years in industry, being on the other side, and then having the intermittent engagement with academics from that side, I got a good feel for what an industry researcher sort of does and needs. And then an opportunity came up at UniSA to come across. I did my PhD part-time while I was at the university, because, you know, in a university setting, you need to have that sort of qualification to advance. So in my previous life, that industry research, I really enjoyed it, sort of thing, that physically inventing something, transitioning it across to production, and then actually seeing it being sold. It's very rewarding. So I wanted to continue that in the academic life. And the only way to do that is to connect with an industry, find their problem is, talk to them for skill set or the university match that, and then work together to solve the problem or come up with a better improvement, a better product. And then on a lot of the occasions, transition what we'd invented to research, to industry, help them scale up, and then hold their hand during the first initial production stages. So that's very rewarding, sort of thing. So that's what drives me.
Yeah, it's got such a tangible endpoint, which a lot of people I know who work in research struggle in those mid stages, being like, you know, what am I working towards? And I guess for you, it's very physical endpoint that you're working towards.
Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, seeing that connection between, yeah, the research side and then the implementation or the using the products or using the research that you've been doing. So Colin, what projects have you been working on recently at the FII?
There's the one that's been, let's say, an ongoing one for 15 years. So it's old, but we're still engaging with the same customer. That's SMR Automotive. That's the one where We originally commercialized the plastic mirror, hence we have a show and tell this time.
Oh, exciting.
So this mirror, we invented it here at UniSA with SMR hand in hand, then transitioned it down to SMR. It was in production for 5 years, and that has transitioned to other products that they're manufacturing now and selling. But we've also had the long-term strategic journey with them is what's next, what's next. So what we're doing now would be maybe a product in 3 to 5 years sort of thing, or maybe not. We've had a lot of stops and starts with different things. So, over the 15 years of research at UniSA, I've had 2 products actually go into production out of, many of things that we've tried. So it's certainly, it's a hard game. The stuff that we're working on right now is using the same sort of technology that we did for the plastic mirror, but tuning it, adjusting it, ready for an autonomous car. So you've got, let's say, for an autonomous car, you need lots of sensors all over the car. Typically, those sensors look ugly. You want to hide them. They need to fit in with the styling of the car, but that can interfere with how the sensors function. So we come up with coatings and devices that will hide them, make them look nice, make them look sexy, but still able to function. So that's what we're working on with SMR, autonomous sensors for the next generation of vehicles. And that's, again, it's probably maybe 1 to 2 years, 3 to 4 away. We started the technology 2 to 3 years ago. So it's that long-term journey that we're on with SMR. Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear about such a long-term engagement or such a long-term collaboration. That's really, exciting and fruitful. Yeah.
Yes, the other stuff that's come up is more of a, so still in the coating space, but very thick wear resistant coatings. So again, engaging with a new customer called LaserBond. Their bread and butter is making thick metal composite coatings, and they get deposited on metal and they extend the life of that metal component. Applications are mainly mining, mineral processing, metalworks, anywhere where you've got, let's say, a fairly extreme environment. So in this case, LaserBond have got the coating technology, but we've got a lab where we can break the coatings basically, and we help the company. We tell them how good their coatings are, how long they would survive in accelerated tests, and then give them feedback to how to make them better. So that one's, we've been working with LaserBond for, let's say, just over 4 years. And we're helping them develop better coatings through breaking them in wear tests, corrosion, impact tests, things like that.
And you mentioned before when you were speaking about the autonomous car about making the technology stylish, or at least making it conform to the style of what you're designing. I want to know, in the process of designing something or engineering something, at what point do you consider the style or the visual? Is it something that is considered from the get-go, or do you kind of design and then have to fit it in later, or how does that work?
Ideally, right from the start.
Yeah.
There's form over function, I guess. I'm a scientist and engineer, so we probably lean on the function side and make sure it works. But you can get undone just like that if it doesn't look right, and especially in automotive. So the sooner we think about the color of it, the look of it, the shape of it, the better. So we do it right from the start, and that's in the back of your mind. So is this too yellow? Is it bright enough? Those are the sort of things, certainly in the automotive space, that's front and center. It's all about how it looks, sort of thing. And we have had products that have been shelved. We've spent 2 years on and have been shelved because they don't look right. So we've been burnt there. We don't do it again. Mining industry and mineral processing, that's a lot easier. It doesn't have to look sexy. It just has to work. So that one's easier.
And on the theme of disruption, which is what we talk about here on Mod TV on Thursday, what kinds of disruption to manufacturing have you been seeing in the last few months?
Yeah, I guess one good thing about the manufacturing is it has been able to keep going to a larger extent unaffected. Even I think all the businesses have had to adjust how they let's say distance their workforce or manage their shifts and things like that to minimize the risk. But a lot of the manufacturing has kept going and has been so important that it's kept going. So one, it's meant that people can still come to work or still have a job. So that's really important. And some manufacturers have helped transition from making what they do day to day to help supporting COVID-related manufacturing. So I think Detmold is a really good example of that. The University of South Australia and Flinders University both helped Detmold get up to speed with making masks. So, and that within 3 months they had bought, installed and had manufactured masks here in South Australia to the right level sort of thing. And we helped test that level. The disruption has been maybe supply chain, getting stuff to the business has been hard, but new opportunities have presented themselves where they can retool and offer really good a local supply of critical items. So same with let's say key components for actually diagnosing COVID tests that was running in short supply. So local injection molders could step in and start making that. So I think through COVID, it's hopefully the government has taken notice that how manufacturing has kept going and has been able to step in and supply those international supply chain issues and have really helped out. And I think my personal opinion is the let's say future investment to get the economy rolling again should really have a large focus or a focus put on supporting future manufacturing. So I'd certainly put my hand up to say money should be spent on, let's say, getting people employed in manufacturing jobs, making sure that manufacturing is internationally relevant so they can compete internationally, but also supply a local market. And to achieve that, getting universities and industry collaborating to bring new technology or new manufacturing models to those businesses so that they can either expand or at least keep going either with new products or let's say more competitive products that they're doing now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And outside of an event such as COVID, are there any other kinds of disruptions that you encounter in either the industry research side of things or in the manufacturing side of things?
I think long-term money spent on research has been getting harder and harder to find, sort of thing. So certainly in Australia, I think industry doesn't value research enough. So they're not investing or reinvesting their profits into that research and development for that longer term success. We can get really good at making a widget. We can make it as quickly and as cheap as possible. But when a new widget comes, then that old widget is, obsolete. So I think that long-term disruption of not in, let's say, the disruption would be investing in R&D, and we're not doing that, so we should be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Colin, what do you think is, this is probably a very broad question, and you're talking about some very specific concerns in manufacturing, but what do you think is the most challenging aspect in this area?
I think let's say, in the industry university collaboration side, it's the managing expectations between what the industry thinks is going to happen, what the universities think is going to happen, and then what actually happens, sort of thing. So that managing that relationship is really difficult. We have lots of false starts with companies that we try it, it doesn't work, we part ways. But then we have some long-term ones where we get it right. We've got the right mix of people. We have the right level of communication. We get somewhere, and those long-term relationships really do pay off, sort of thing. So SMR, 15 years, Laser Bond, we're up 5 years. So yeah, we practice a lot and we get a few that work well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess other challenges, I think, I guess it goes back to the research dollars, but the continuity of staff is a really hard one and probably very topical right now. So I think today, University of New South Wales announced that they were asking for 500 redundancies, starting voluntary, but then forced. So that's going to have a massive influence on them personally and on the university sector as a whole. It's probably just a sign of things to come. Keeping, let's say, the right people in the right jobs at the university is really difficult. We've got industry-related projects that fund our positions, and when they finish, we need to find the next project to come along to keep those people employed. If we don't, then we lose that resource, we lose that expertise, and we have to start build it up all over again. So that's a real challenging one, is keeping people employed. They're our best resource. I know the University of South Australia have said people are the number one, and they'll cut everything else before they have to cut people, which is a nice thing to hear.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And Colin, is there anything that you think you've come across recently that's really inspired or perhaps challenged your thinking around this or around this industry?
Let's say, I think the companies really stepping up to fill the void of medical devices. All across the world, we've seen lots of different companies saying, look, we'll give it a go. We'll make the face masks. We'll 3D print parts for the ventilators. We'll make whole new, like, I think McLaren Formula One and a tractor manufacturer got together and started making ventilators. I think that's inspiring, and it shows what can happen when there's a crisis, there's a definite need. Companies can break down the traditional barriers and start working together and fill that void, because people's lives are on the line. So that was inspiring. That was, yeah.
Yep, I have to agree with that. I think different industries and different, maybe people who haven't worked together coming together to really, when it really matters, I suppose. And I guess, what else do you hope people might take away from the work that you're doing, whether that's students or whether that's any other stakeholders or people benefiting from the products of the research?
I think take-home message, manufacturing is live and well in Australia. We do manufacture things. What we're manufacturing is changing. So we're not building cars here, but we're starting to build medical devices. We have a steelworks. They're making rails for for Australia. So we've got traditional manufacturing still going. We've got some manufacturing transitioning to new stuff, but it is there. I think the past 6 months has shown how important it is. It employs a lot of people, and it might be, let's say, it's important to the economy, and maybe it's fairly robust when these sorts of challenges comes our way. So I would think for students, it would be a good career path to get into manufacturing, and that, or to industry as well. It can, and look to what industry is becoming. So what's it going to look like in 2 to 3 to 5 years when you're going to be, let's say, if you undertake a degree, or if you're upskilling through TAFE and things like that, what's going to be required? You know, I think automation, advanced manufacturing, learning to install advanced manufacturing lines, support those, repair and keep that facility going are going to be skills that are really necessary and have shown to be of immediate need and will be a long-term lead. So let's say manufacturing is live and well. If you want a career path, I think it's offers so many opportunities. The things that will be emerging and there will be skills shortages is in defence. You know, certainly in South Australia, we've got the submarine build and we've got the frigates. They're going to be upskilling and needing a broad range of manufacturing skills, and that'll be very interesting from a job perspective. And then there's space as well. We're the hub for the space industry, and that's also going to be both manufacturing from a traditional sense, but then programming, sensing, all the telecommunication involved in that. So there's lots of opportunities. The companies that are looking to set up here are going to be looking for those skills, and I think all 3 universities will be have those courses on offer. UniSA have got our test lab, Industry 4.0 test lab, and that's a showcase for the next generation of industry, industry in a digital world. And our students will be using those facilities, are now using those facilities to learn those skills. So we've got some really nice facilities to come and use in your undergraduate or postgraduate. Like if you're, and PhDs, our Future Industries Institute survives on the PhDs. They're our engine room. Our international source or supply of those PhDs is gone for the short term. So we'll be looking for interested people that want to reskill, spend 3 years with a scholarship to do some really interesting science, and be ready for the future industry sort of thing. So if you're looking for a scholarship, if you want to study something that's really interesting to you, you know, get in contact with a local institute, with a professor that's in the area that interests you, and start that conversation. There'll be lots of opportunities coming up for those sorts of positions. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank
you.
It's
Exciting times ahead for South Australia. And in terms of the industry itself, are there any key questions that you think the industry is asking itself going forward?
I think I think for local industry, it's what's my market in the next 6 months? Can I get the stuff I need so that I can fulfill my market need? And then what's going to happen in the next 12 months? So from, let's say, the industry that we interact with, they've got a 6 month to 12-month sort of viewpoint. So they're very here and now, and they need to adjust their production now to deal with their, you know, cash flow and get to find that balance between money in, money out. So that's their what's right in front of their face. The really good companies have people that look beyond that to say, okay, what's happening 2 to 3 years? And they're the ones that are the conversations with the universities to say, what can we bring you? How can we help that 3 to 5 year vision? So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we finish up today, we'd love to know what is next for you and your own research. Are there any exciting things you're allowed to share with us that you're working on?
I can talk in generalities. We've got a project that's about to be signed starting in October with some partners to look at making components last longer. So that'll employ 3 people here at the university on a 2-year journey. So that's looking forward to that in October. We've got some short-term stuff with we're part of a training centre. So the ARC, which is Australian Research Council, they have funding grants for training centres. And this one is about surface engineering for advanced materials, SEAM. So that's ongoing for 5 years. So that's training the next generation of PhD students and graduates for surface engineering careers. So we're looking at making 3-dimensional printed metal objects that will last a long time in, let's say, extreme environments. So we've got 1 PhD on the ground working. I'm hopefully going to make an offer to one soon to start in that journey. So that's all new stuff for them, looking at making these coatings, understanding the process, making the process better, making the coatings last longer in these extreme environments. So that's coming up. Will take a fair bit of my time.
Understandably.
Fantastic. And if people are interested in finding out more, where would you suggest that they look?
I think good old a search engine for Future Industries Institute is a good start if they want to engage with the Institute. We cover a range of stuff from advanced manufacturing is where I sit, but medical, environmental and mining as well. So if they want to engage with us, go to that website. I've got my LinkedIn page, my staff homepage is a good one if you're interested in the research I do. And then there's the SEAM website, the ARC SEAM website as well, another one if you're looking for PhD opportunities. Yeah.
Our wonderful chat moderator will be peppering some links in the Twitch chat as we speak. So you can head to those links to follow the thread. Well, thank you, Colin. We've really appreciated you coming onto our program this afternoon. It's been a real pleasure to chat with you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for the time. And yeah, thanks.
We'll see you later.
Cheers.